Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about OP's mother, who demands OP breaks up with her boyfriend because OP's stepsister is in love with him. Listen to the story to find out the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 17 female, have a boyfriend, Jake, 18. Jake and stepsis, Bree, 18, have been best friends since they were little. When mom and stepdad got married, we moved to stepdad's hometown. I met my step-siblings' friends and over time joined their friend group. Jake and I became official 6 months ago. Since then, I started to see the changes in Bree's behavior. Always excluding me in our conversations, barging into my room when Jake and I hang out, and tagging along on our dates. I confronted her about it, and she called me an insecure B. I told Jake about how Bree's behavior is making me feel, and he understood me. He and Bree had dinner together last Thursday, and Jake told her about boundaries, and that he wants to have some alone time with me as his girlfriend. Bree argued at first, then confessed that she loves Jake. She asked Jake to break up with me. She said they have been best friends for a long time, and that it's impossible for Jake to not have romantic feelings towards her. Jake set her straight, and told her he only loves her as a friend. She left the restaurant crying and didn't come home. Slept at her grandparents' house. Jake told me all about what happened when he called me that night. I woke up Friday morning to my phone ringing. My friends have been texting and calling me. Turns out, Bree and her friends have posted rumors about me in social media. Defamatory posts, such as calling me a homewrecker, a W, and that I had multiple A's. They also posted photoshopped pictures of me. I told mom and stepdad about it. They hurried to stepdad's parents' house to talk to Bree. Bree refused to talk to them and apologized to me. Stepdad apologized for Bree's actions and said he'll make sure the posts are taken down. Mom told me to just break up with Jake so everything goes back to normal. I don't think breaking up with Jake will solve anything, but I feel conflicted as I don't want to ruin our blended family. Mom and stepdad love each other so much, and if I don't do anything, I might cause them to separate. So am I the a-hole if I don't break up with Jake? Things will not go back to normal if OP breaks up, because they were not normal to begin with. Breaking up for the sake of stepsister would be rewarding some pretty crappy behavior on her part. OP did nothing wrong here. Jake likes OP. OP likes him. OP didn't steal him from Bree, and being friends for most of their lives does not obligate people to be romantically involved. OP's mother's take on this whole matter is pretty toxic, to be honest. Good on stepdad for stepping up. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. The Lady Lazarus says, "Not the a-hole. Tell your mom to break up with your stepdad so things go back to normal." Jules79 says, "Not the a-hole. Breaking up with him would actually set the precedent that Bree can do whatever she wants to get whatever she wants. Duck that. Stand up for yourself and your relationship. You did nothing wrong." 3 Acanthasia says, "Not the a-hole. Your stepsister needs to grow the hell up. I wouldn't exchange a single word with her until she profoundly apologizes for those nasty posts. Your mother wants to keep the peace with her husband. I get that. And I hope her marriage can cope with the situation your stepdad's daughter, not you, put them in. However, it's incredibly selfish to just expect you to break up with your boyfriend for the sake of keeping the peace with her husband, thus putting her happiness above yours." My brother and sister-in-law snooped in my now adult niece's diary from when she was a child and teenager. My niece wasn't big on writing in it ever, but occasionally did over a decade of her childhood, from age 7 to 17. It wasn't something she thought much about unless she was writing in it. What my brother and sister-in-law found in the diary left them with many negative feelings. Sister-in-law is my brother's second wife and is not the mother of my niece and her older brother, my nephew. She married my brother 18 months after his first wife died. My niece was 7 and my nephew was 8. In the diary, my niece had written that her stepmother was second best, that she wished she could trade her to get her mom back, and apparently there were a number of pages about how she felt her stepmother didn't deserve to be there for certain moments over her mom. My brother and sister-in-law actually confronted my niece about this. Sister-in-law brought up that she went to find it in the first place because she always felt second best, and how niece's wedding was making it even worse, because she, sister-in-law, wasn't invited to do much with niece. Niece was angry they had read it, and she said she thought she had trashed it before she moved out. My brother thought that meant she regretted writing that, and she said no, but she was never planning to let those thoughts get out, that she and her brother, and there were pages about him and niece saying the same stuff regarding sister-in-law, had agreed it would be something between them. My brother said they should have spoken up, and he could have fixed it. She told him that never would have happened, that they only had one mother, and no, that one mother was not sister-in-law. Sister-in-law apparently asked her directly if she felt that way about her, felt she did not deserve her place in their lives, was easily traded for their long-dead mother. Her words, not mine, and was nothing more than her father's wife in her eyes. My niece confirmed this. I heard about what happened from my niece and nephew originally. They warned me my brother was ready to vent to anyone who would listen. He and my sister-in-law did try to use me to vent, and I told them I did not agree with their actions, re. snooping, and didn't want to hear from them on it. Then, about a week ago, they were telling our parents all about it, and whining about what awful things my niece had written. I told them they shouldn't have snooped if they didn't want to learn hurtful things. My brother said I was being an unsympathetic bee. Maybe he's right. Am I the a-hole? They knew the answers before looking. They just, for some reason, wanted confirmation. Maybe they hoped for a very tiny bit that the diary was going to say the opposite. But if that were the case, then they were just lying to themselves. She shouldn't have dug for answers she wasn't going to like. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Major Barnacle 2212 says, "Not the a-hole. You're right. And it's sad that they are holding the thoughts of a grieving 7-year-old over her head. She has the right to still value her relationship with her birth mother. No one should be asking her to rank the parental figures in her life. That's why we should never ask questions we don't want to know the answers to. It's the stepmom and your brother snooping that created the hurtful situation everyone is in now." Do I Want to Know 6417 says, "They shouldn't have read the diary. That's private. They thought they were entitled to read the thoughts of your niece, and now they don't like what they read. As they say on Reddit, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If they had respected niece's privacy, they wouldn't be feeling the way they feel now. Not the a-hole." 16 male, lost my sister 5 months ago. She'd had cancer for almost 2 years. She knew she was dying, and before it happened, she wrote a letter telling our stepmom she had never loved her, never wanted her around, and that she was not welcome at her funeral, as well as some other stuff my sister didn't tell me about. I knew the idea of the letter was to let our stepmom know she had never grown to love her. She asked me to give it to her before she died, and I did what she asked. I heard nothing about the letter for months. Neither my dad or stepmom showed up to the funeral, and my dad was talking to me like normal. Then a month ago, he confronted me over it. He asked what kind of stunt it was, and how could I be so cruel to someone who was grieving. I told him she had wanted me to give her the letter, that she wrote it and wanted our stepmom to know. I think he was shocked, because he seemed to think I wrote the letter or something. Or maybe our mom, since she and our stepmom always hated each other's guts. My dad was really upset, and asked had she always felt that way. I said yeah. He stopped the conversation and went back to his place, and it was a week after when he and my stepmom said I was a cruel jerk for doing that to them. That I should have burned the letter and let my sister's last words to my stepmom be something else. My dad told me he was done with me, that I had broken his wife's heart, that I had trampled on 13 years of being our stepmom, all to help my sister's bitterness be the thing that lived on, instead of something else. Am I the a-hole? OP did something incredibly hard. The fact that OP's dad is willing to miss his daughter's funeral and then cut OP out after this speaks volumes about the kind of trash dad he is. Reemlouch says, "Not the a-hole. First off, I just want to say that I'm truly sorry for your loss and that you are having to deal with this stupidity while you grieve. You carried out your sister's final wishes. You had nothing to do with what she said or how she felt. Your father and stepmom are major a-holes, though. I understand that they are grieving as well, but to take that out on you is disturbing. They should really be taking the time to evaluate their own actions and try to understand what they did to make your sister feel the way that she did. Don't feel bad about anything regarding this situation. You are not at fault, and you did nothing wrong." I Love the Java Jive says, "Not the a-hole. Your dad's anger is misplaced. You did what your sister asked of you, and it's not your job to take care of your stepmom's or anyone else's feelings." My 21 female sister-in-law, I'll call her Sarah, has been with my brother for about 6 years now. She is 38. My brother is 39. She's very beautiful, and we all got on really well at first and did everything we could to make her feel welcome. She's made countless comments about me, but there's a character limit, so I'll just quote some here for reference. "Your body is too misshapen for that dress. You sound like you've been smoking for the last 10 years. You should wear contacts for your dull eyes. Your oily skin bothers me. Have you considered lip fillers? I'll pay for you. Online relationships work best for you because they can't see you up close. She would only make the worst of the comments when we were alone, but once she got caught. My brother has a child, 6 male, from a previous relationship, and at one point he actually came in, pushed her away from me, and said Sarah, me, is beautiful. Stop talking about her looks. He wasn't being sweet and jokey about it, but it made Sarah really mad. At one point, I caught my mom crying in the bathroom on one of our trips. My mom and dad broke up around 4 years ago, so Sarah used this against her a lot. I won't specify the situations, but these are some of the things she said to my mom. You should consider getting butt implants now that you're single, because you won't get a man with a flat cake like that. You shouldn't wear any foundation because you can really see every wrinkle in your skin, and it makes you look older than you already are. But the worst was what she said in front of me and my nephew after that. My nephew gave my mom a hug and said, "Grandma, you're so beautiful," to which Sarah snorted and said, "Yes, beautiful apart from those yellow teeth." Skip to recently. My mom had been trying to get Sarah and my brother to bring my nephew down for a trip, but Sarah had been ignoring her. I checked Mom's phone and realized that Sarah had been ignoring her messages randomly on and off for years now. I messaged my brother and asked him about it. He said Sarah had been trying to talk to Mom, but that she was being ignored. I knew this was a lie. I lost my patience. I told my brother everything about the comments. A few minutes later, I got a message from Sarah saying that she was only trying to be a good sister to me, and that she was heartbroken that I'd taken the comments the wrong way. She denied everything and said that it was best that I didn't visit her anymore. My bro told me I was selfish and that I can visit my nephew whenever I want, but he and Sarah are done with me and my mom. I also found out a few hours ago that Sarah had been trying to persuade my mom to become a gold digger and gave her tips on how to give men just enough to keep them interested, get their money, and then bail. Was I an a-hole? My family thinks I'm lying and that my mom is enabling me to tear the family apart. Edit. This is not the first time I confronted her or told my brother. She would pass it off as helpful advice, give me a cuddle, and move on. My brother said that that's just the way she is because she's passionate about health and beauty. I'm not a confrontational person, especially not against someone who was adored by my family. Also, there's a lot of concern for my nephew, and I assure you, he is only with Sarah once a week, and this is not spent alone with him. He has an incredible support system with the rest of his family, and yes, I agree, he's an absolute angel. Cat Got Ya Tongue says, not the a-hole. And maybe you should screenshot all those ignored texts and nasty online chats and make a lovely scrapbook, which you can gift to the people in the family that are blaming you, including your brother. M. DeMonte says, not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law is a horrible aggressor, and your brother isn't as innocent in this as he pretends. Obviously, he saw her be mean to you at least once, and I wouldn't be surprised if he noticed what was going on with your mom, or if his son told him something. He's been letting her be mean, and is now choosing to enable her cruelty, rather than deal with it head-on. You aren't tearing the family apart. Sarah is. It's honestly just due to your good nature and your mother's low self-esteem that this hasn't happened earlier. Is this real life says, not the a-hole. If your nephew and your mom are witnesses to her behavior, then no one in your family should think you are lying. If your brother can't see it, then you need to get proof. Screenshots, camera, whatever. Don't worry, karma will get her. I've been dating my girlfriend for about a year. I had my daughter yesterday as it was my day off work, and usually drop her home at around 7 p.m. So I had plans to collect my girlfriend and her 2 daughters from a school show at around 8. The school is only a few miles, edit, 0.7 miles, from their home, but I offered to pick them up as I'd be visiting anyway. At around 6 p.m., my ex gets in touch and says she isn't feeling well. I had known she hadn't been well. She says she's getting worse and is thinking about going to the hospital and asks me if I can hold on to our daughter to allow her to do so. I say all right. I tell my girlfriend sorry, I can't collect you guys later. I still have my kid, who was sleeping in my bed for 7. My girlfriend totally lost it and has now blocked me. She considers this me putting my ex before her, rather than me handling my responsibilities as a father and the other person responsible for creating this child. Of course, if one parent is unwell, the very first option is the other parent, right? My girlfriend says my ex should have got one of her friends or family to watch her kid to allow her to go to the hospital, as it was officially her time with her and not my responsibility. She says my response should have been, not my problem, I'm only responsible for her till 7. I completely disagree with this. I think my girlfriend isn't used to this, as she has two deadbeat baby dads who don't pay for or help her with kids in any way. I have tried to tell her I've done nothing wrong here, but she has made me doubt myself. I'm keen on hearing opinions from people in similar situations, especially women in relationships with guys and kids. I'm not looking for validation here. I really want to know if I should be apologizing and fighting to fix this. I don't have much relationship experience other than my child's mom, which lasted almost a decade. I'm 28. Edit. I didn't leave them stranded. She had made arrangements to go to the show before even telling me anything about it. I found out earlier that day and said I could pick them up as I'd be coming to see her anyway. Her mother and sister also went. She was going to the show regardless of me. I also offered to pay her cab fare, but she was beyond all reason. I let her know an hour in advance I wouldn't be able to come, and she'd have to do whatever she intended on doing before even bothering to tell me that day that she was going to a show. I offered to collect them still with my child sleeping, and she said don't bother. She's quite open about the fact that the cause of her anger isn't losing her ride home, but me choosing to do a favor for my ex over spending time with her and being there for her and her kids. This is what we disagree on. She said she felt mortified that she told her parents I was coming, but now I wasn't. Her words were something like, "Shall I just tell my parents that, oh, blank isn't coming because his ex decided to go and have bloods taken?" I'm mortified. I said, yeah, tell them that. I'm not embarrassed. Slippery T says, wow, not the a-hole at all. You handled yourself like an adult, because guess what? You're right. You're responsible for your daughter regardless of time of day. And you're being a good dad and an amicable ex. She, on the other hand, is acting incredibly childish. And if she's blocked you, then that's even worse. You should probably talk to her about how being a dad is a full-time job that you can't just throw away because the clock struck 7. Compromises need to be made. Don't let her guilt you, and stand your ground. Ella Bella Modella says, not the a-hole. Your responsibility for your daughter is 24/7, not just till 7 p.m. You being there for your child was the right thing.